Okay, my name is Zakashi, guys, and in this video here we are going to be going into the top 5 best teams of the month for the month of August. But we've got a lot of units here coming out of the anniversary, specifically Omega Shenron, who dropped with Rage Shenron, and we also got the legendary Super Saiyan Broly, who also dropped with Videl. Some teams have come up, some teams have gone down a bit, and you guys will see that through the teams I list in this video. So if you guys need help building any teams, this video is sure to help you. Let's get into the video now. Right, so the first team we got here is Fusion Warriors, and just for the guys that skipped the intro, there is no order to this video. So the team that I mentioned first isn't necessarily better than the team I mentioned fifth. It can go in any order. There might be an actual order, but I'm not going to talk on that. So we got Fusion Warriors here. This is a Fusion Warrior team I've been running, and I think it's the best one that you can run. It gets me the easiest amount of wins. But if you don't have Corrupted Zamasu at 14 stars, you might want to go for a different variation. Also, depending on what units you have, which I will mention some going into this segment of the video. So we've got Corrupted Zamasu in the leader slot because he doesn't actually buff Fusion Warriors for his Z ability, so he's going to need all the Z abilities. Then we've got Fusing Super Vegito, who is a free Rise and Rush free kill. Most people he's going to kill as long as they don't cancel buffs, and even if they do cancel buffs, if he catches them on the cover change, it's a free kill. Then we've got Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, who's a must. Now what I do want to say is for Fusing Super Vegito and G4, I think both of them are guaranteed runs on Fusion Warriors. You have to run them. If you don't, you might want to think about running another team. But then we look at the bench here, we've also got Purple Super Vegito. Purple Super Vegito is super important because for one, he Zenkai buffs Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, which is there you can see Purple and Saiyan, but at 14 stars he gives a HP buff to the team, which is very impactful. Then we've got a double Zenkai buff for Fusing Super Vegito. So if I go to the details and actually scroll down, you will see here on the Zenkai buffs, Goku gives one, and then Vegeta gives one to Vegeta Clan, and because it's Goku and Vegeta that fuse into Super Vegito, you can get that Zenkai buff. So this is what I run, but I'm going to show you some other options if you want to swap pieces and whatnot. So go to the character list, you want to change the filter, change it, and then press Fusion Warrior, so you can just get all the Fusion Warriors brought up. So in the blue options, Fusing Super Vegito is going to be your main man. I wouldn't recommend anybody else, honestly. Going to greens, if you did really want to run one, you've got Omega Shenron, you've got Pycon, and you've got Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, but Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is probably the worst option. Pycon is good for the revival layer, but Omega Shenron's really him. Put him on leader slot, he's actually better than CMZ if I'm being real. But I like using CMZ because a lot of people use Saiyans, and CMZ is anti-Saiyan. Going into purples, G4, if you don't have him, don't run anybody else, I'm telling you. Purple SV for the bench. Going into the yellows, we got Gotenks as a good bench option. Gogeta is going to be the main one you want to run if you do want to run a yellow. And then looking over at the reds, I sometimes used to run UVB, so I had this other Fusion Warrior team where I'd be running red, and then G4 on the leader slot. We've got Super 17 and then CMZ, I already mentioned, even Ultra Omega, but you got to keep the team GT orientated to get the benefits from him, so I don't recommend that team. But just to show you that Fusion Warrior team that I was mentioning, so it would literally be like this, one there, and then one there, then you put G4 on the leader slot. Then these three would be Zenkai buffs for these two, so you'd have Red Vegito, you'd have Super Gogeta, then Trunks and Mai, then UVB is getting basically 4 times Zenkai buff. CMZ, if you include himself, 4 times Zenkai buff, and G4, just gotta be wary of Fusing Super Vegito when you run this team. But yeah, this is what I'm running. This is Fusion Warriors. This is the first team for the video, Fusion Warriors. The second team for this video that I'm mentioning is going to be Majin Buu Saga. This team is super impactful, especially in Proud Battle, but even in regular PvP it does numbers. Kid Buu, Evil Majin Buu, and Ultimate Gohan, which you can see I do not have him on the rotation because I don't own him, but Ultimate Gohan is crazy. He's one of the best units in the game, in my opinion, the most annoying unit to fight. But that trio there works wonders, and if you can run it, it's super impactful. If you want a better look at like equipments and whatnot, even for the Fusion Warrior team I previously just mentioned, you can go ahead to PvP, check the rankings, because these teams are being run quite consistently. But here are some of the units, and yes, even the free-to-play 18 is super impactful. She's a super good support unit, and she tanks quite a bit. And even her main ability, she gets cover null, she gives damage inflicted for the allies. She's super useful on the team, don't sleep on her. Evil Majin Buu cancels buffs and he can break the combo very effectively, but he can do a bit of damage. Kid Buu comes with endurance as well, and he actually does a lot of damage, gets a bit of cover null, he's super useful. Fusing Super Vegito, you already know what he does. Let's just look at the other options just in case. So I'm actually going to change the filter. Let's take off Fusion Warrior, go to episode, Majin Buu Saga. Let's look at what we got. We don't have a lot, by the way. So blue, obviously you got Fusing Super Vegito, green you got Evil Majin Buu, and there's literally no other that I am mentioning. Obviously I forgot about Kid Buu, but Fusing Super Vegito, Kid Buu, Evil Majin Buu, all the other greens are basically washed. All the purples besides Ultimate Gohan. Ultimate Gohan is insane with his buff cancellation endurance as well. He's obviously going to be your main man on the team. Going into yellows, it's really just the free-to-play 18. You can try Force Ultra Kid Buu because he does have endurance as well and can be useful. And then for reds, Shin is the only option who can actually be used. He's a good combo breaker and seals a lot of cards. Very annoying to deal with on the opposite end for the enemy. But yeah, Majin Buu Saga is a team that's pretty much came out of nowhere with just 2 units dropping. Well, technically not just 2, but specifically Ultimate Gohan, Evil Majin Buu, Kid Buu Zenkai. It was the easiest way to bring it up, and they put so much effort into Majin Buu before. For example, with like Buu Bros over here, TN, like, and they just sorted it out so fast in this anniversary. It's crazy. But yeah, they're the number 2 team I'm mentioning for this video. We got Majin Buu Saga. Number 3, we've got Powerful Opponent / Regeneration, and it's / Regeneration because it's basically the same team with just 1 or 2 switches depending on what units you want to run. But here are just the ones I've got, and there's missing 2 pieces because there are characters I'm missing. So we've got Golden Frieza. Ultra Golden Frieza is very much loved. For good reason, he's super insane. We've got Zenkai Kid Buu. I spoke about him in the Majin Buu Saga section. He's got the endurance, the blast damage is insane, vanish recovery. Golden Frieza obviously has to come back. I didn't talk about him. Evil Majin Buu, he breaks combos, so if you start comboing him, you're going to reduce your ki quickly. He also tanks pretty well and can do damage on the opposite end. CMZ, he's got the anti-Saiyan, he nullifies endurance of his main ability. Explosive green, and he gets cover null when he does the first strike. Some good stuff there. Now the 2 spaces I'm missing could be a bunch of people, so instead of actually going through it, what I'm going to do is go to the character list, change my thing here. So I'm going to change it to Powerful Opponent first, then I'll bring up the regeneration lot. Some of them will cross over, some of them won't. There's a lot of good Powerful Opponents right now. So let's actually start with the ones I don't have, because I don't have a lot. So we do have Omega Shenron, we've got Broly here. Those 2 can actually be used very, very seriously. We've got Ultra Broly, who can also be used with his plat. We've got Super Baby 2. I haven't seen anybody go out with Garlic Jr. yet, because at the day I'm recording this, he literally just came out. But he could also be used as well. Now let's look at the other options, just starting from the top. So your best blue is going to be Kid Buu, but Ultra Super Janemba is there if you have him decently starred. I'd say at least 10 stars if you want to bring him out. I'd say that's pretty much it. Maybe Broly. You got to run his plat, and as a Zenkai he can be ran. You got to run that Powerful Opponent equipment as well. Going into green over here. Going into green. It's not looking the best. I'd say the best option is Omega Shenron, honestly. The rest of them, Evil Majin Buu's an option. The rest of them are pretty much trash. Going into purple, Golden Frieza, Ultra Broly, like I mentioned, and Garlic Jr. Maybe Nappa and Frieza. I mean, Nappa and Vegeta, but I wouldn't recommend personally. Going into yellows, the yellows, besides some Super Baby 2, are not that great. Maybe Ultra Kid Buu if you have him like 14 stars. And then for red, we've actually got Ultra Omega, if you're running him with other GT members to make the most of his plat. Super 17, CMZ, and I'd say that's about it. Or Broly, of course, who I didn't mention. Now I gotta go to the regeneration section because there are some characters I'm missing, such as Rage Shenron. Rage Shenron, who I did not mention yet, is on that list. Piccolo's now here because of Piccolo and Goku. Garlic Jr. is on the team. Then most of the what we've seen is already also here, but let's just add some more. So we've got Revhan if you're desperate. We've got Orange Piccolo over there. In the purples, it's still pretty bad, besides from Ultra Broly on the Powerful Opponent end. The yellows, it's just Ultra Kid Buu and Super Baby 2 again. Super Baby 2 first, and then the reds, pretty much the same thing as well. So there's not much changes between Powerful Opponent and Regen, but some few extra pieces, depending on if you want to leader slot them or not, can make the team. It's actually quite crazy how stacked PO is. You have a lot of choice, and there's a lot of good choice as well. It's not just choice in numbers, it's actually choice in value as well. So yeah, we got Powerful Opponents / regeneration. Number 4 in this video, we've got GT. GT is a very popular team this year. No surprise, they've been buffing it since the jump. It's got a lot of good units that you can use, especially if you got them decently starred. You will get easy good results, especially with the like of Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, who drops for the finale of the 6th anniversary. He's on the leader slot, you know his ding, his untouchable counter. That's what I call it anyways. It's so insane to deal with, but his ultimate is also an insane nuke. He also gets a lot of cover, no, everything good to be honest, healing, whatever you need. Bomku, you know his gauge where he's able to heal. He's super effective because he cancels buffs as well from everything, I believe, except blue cards. And his main ability, once his gauge is full, he's able to remove your vanish if you're 1v1 or 1v3. As long as the enemy only has one person left, you can pretty much get them out pretty easily. Super 17, you know, if he taps you can't use strikes or blues, which is super impactful to any melee team. But his blast damage is also insane, and his green card is good. And on this team I'm running, I'm specifically Zenkai buffing G4 once. Then I've also got a double Zenkai buff for Super 17, because Super 17 is also going to be the second attacker on this team. Bomku is going to be the guy that's going to be absorbing hits, so I'd build him defensively. This obviously isn't the only GT team you run, and it's also not the best GT team you would run. A lot of people, you probably want to run Omega Shenron if you have him, and Raid Shenron. We're going to get into the other options right now. So go back to filter, take off the regen tag, put on the GT tag, press OK, press OK. There's not a lot of options, which is unfortunate. But Omega Shenron, Raid Shenron, you could also run Super Baby 2 depending on how you feel or what you have. And then in terms of the other options, it's pretty much the same thing I was running. So Bomku or the other blues suck. In green, they pretty much all suck, which is unfortunate. In purple, G4 is your main man. In yellow, I already spoke about Super Baby 2. Green, I said they all suck, but Omega's there. And then for red, it's just Super 17. You can run Ultra Omega though, because he does have endurance, and because you're running GT, he's going to get the most out of his plat. And one thing I do want to mention that's super important, we have this kid here who's a HP buffer for GT. So if you struggle with stars, having HP is super important. It helps you out big time. You might want to run him on the team to get that HP buff. So yeah, that's everything for GT. This is the team I'm running, but of course Omega and Rage are probably the best options if you do want to run them. If you do have them, you should run them. I actually advise you run them. G4 is a must run though. But yeah, this is GT, the fourth team for this video. Right, so we're now going to get into honorable mentions, and I've only got 2 honorable mentions because I've been seeing these teams pop up quite a bit. So we're going to get into the first one now, and the first one I have is Hybrid Saiyans. There's not actually many combinations of this team. This is the only combination I'm pretty much going to mention. We've got Goten, who's a free-to-play unit, but he's actually really good, especially on the defensive end when tanking. But you want to run Beast Gohan, and you also want to put the leader slot, Ultimate Gohan. Ultimate Gohan is the must for this team, and he's the only reason this team works. Goten is able to tank, and then we've got Red Beast Gohan, who's able to also cancel buffs. So you've got 2 units that cancel buffs. Ultimate Gohan has endurance, and it makes the team flourish because the Zenkai buffs are also good. It's just a super juiced Hybrid Saiyan team. The equipments are really good. Hybrid Saiyans has really stacked equipment. Obviously, we do have other Hybrid Saiyans. So for example, if I just put on the tag, the main one you're probably thinking about is Ultra Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. You can obviously put him on the team, but running any other Hybrid Saiyan besides from him is pretty much a liability in my opinion, if it's not going to be Red Beast, Ultimate Gohan, and the Goten I showed you. Hybrid Saiyans isn't the best team, but this one rotation of a team is being run quite a bit in PvP. I did see it a couple times, so that's why I decided to mention it. It does have Ultimate Gohan, so it's obviously going to be somewhat good. The second honorable mention that I've got here is Son Family. I think Son Family in general is just super stacked. Even though what I've got here isn't actually the best team that I wanted to talk about. The best team I wanted to talk about, what people have been running, is basically Fusion Warriors / Son Family, depending on how you wanted to go about it. So I've seen a lot of people put Ultimate Gohan fusing Super Vegito, and then they put G4 on. So you'd be having 2 Fusion Warriors, but then you'd also be having 2 Son Family members. But then I think the bench is mostly going to be Son Family, because you'd be having G4 on the leader slot on Son Family. I don't have Ultimate Gohan, but of course you would know that G4 would be on the leader slot. So if I change out my settings, let me take off the Hybrid Saiyan. Okay, I put G4 on the leader slot, and then you'd have Ultimate Gohan here. They're both LF, so G4 is getting his full Ultra ability. Then you go ahead and Zenkai buff these 2 accordingly, and it actually works. I'd say opt in to just Zenkai buff this guy more than anything else. You could also have Ultimate Gohan on the leader slot as well, so it actually probably works smoother if you had Ultimate Gohan on the leader slot, because then you could just keep the Fusion Warrior Z abilities. I think they're low-key better. For example, Super Vegito here, and then I could actually just go for 2 Saiyans to buff this guy. So I could go for, let's take Majin Vegeta like I had before, and we'll take Namek Goku who I had before, which is pretty nice. You could also go ahead and double Zenkai buff G4 by having Super Saiyan 4 Goku over here, just to recheck his Zenkai ability GT, but he also buffs Son Family on the Z ability, which makes it work. So you can see that now G4's getting a double Zenkai buff. Ultimate Gohan won't be getting any buffs, but you can see Son Family is still flourishing somehow, even though this team is kind of half Fusion Warriors. But I think it was worth mentioning, even though it's not like a strict team, it doesn't have options. It's really just the main three. If you try to run a different variation, you probably get slumped, I'm not gonna lie. But this one here, I've been seeing people run this one and it gets people really good results. So I do actually recommend this as much as the other top 5 teams that I've mentioned already. But yeah, man, that's going to be the end of the video. I do realize when I said GT at the end, I said it was the 4th team, but it was actually the 5th team, technically the 6th team, because Powerful Opponent and Regeneration were put together. And I do also realize throughout this whole video, I mentioned Piccolo and Goku and Garlic Jr. like once, but at the start of the video, I just left them out. Low-key intentional, but we're gonna say it was an accident. Anyways, hopefully this video was useful. I put my best effort forward. I was on holiday. I haven't played PvP in a while, but in this short time I played PvP and getting opinions from a lot of you guys in the live streams. Appreciate you guys coming through every single day. I was able to form this video. But hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. If you haven't already, make sure to press that subscribe button. We're on this grind to 100,000 subscribers. I appreciate you guys for watching, man. My name is Zakashi, guys, and I will see you guys in the next one, man.